Hey, it's Olivia, and I'm going to do my reflection on circle time. Circle time is something that before my lead teaching week I was doing because my practicum supervisor kind of knew that, my time was kind of constrained a little bit, and so she wanted me in there every day leading this and putting it on. So I had been doing morning circle time since I started my practicum, but this was the first week where I really got to choose what we did and what circle time looked like. What I would have them do for the morning is after the kids ate breakfast, they can either go sit at a table and do little puzzles, or they could go to the carpet and there's a couple sensory items that we had out for them, and like boards that you can practice zipping and buttoning. And so they know that they can choose one of those two activities. So after most kids were done with breakfast, we would play the cleanup song, which is a song, I think it's from the Super Fun show, that one and Our Attention Getter. We play this song, they all know, okay, it's time to clean up. Then the next song comes on, it's the Attention Getter, they know it's time to go to carpet. The attention song, it's like, if you can hear my voice, clap your hands. If you can hear my voice, shake your head. They just go through different things. And then once that song's over, we have all children on the carpet, those who are doing puzzles, those who just finished eating breakfast, and everyone comes and sits down. The first thing I would do was their morning movement, and that changed every day. Some days it was yoga. The week that I was lead teaching, I did a thing called a balloon movement, and so I would blow them up like a balloon, and then we would float, and we would do all these movements like a balloon. And then every day before we started, I also have them balance on one foot. I'll say, can you balance on your right foot? And they'll lift their left foot. Can you balance on your left foot? Same thing. And then I would have them, can you balance on your foot and touch your nose? Because doing that, having them balance, it triggers the same thing in your brain that causes you to pay attention and focus. So I would do that stretch with them every morning just because it triggers that focus on them. So after we did our morning movement, we sat down and we would go over the days of the week, which we usually did the Addams Family, the days of the week, that song. We would go over the days of the week. We would count, okay, today is June 6, 2018. Tomorrow is June 7th, 2018. And then we would look outside and we would talk about the weather of the day. We have a little circle thing that has, is it sunny, is it partly cloudy, is it cloudy, is it rainy, snowy, all of that fun stuff. So we would decide the weather of the day, and then some days there's a little felt man who you can put clothes on. Some days I would do that if I knew that my actual activity with them wasn't going to take that long, but most of the time I just didn't do that because, they're 3 years old, they can only sit still for so long, so that was one of the things that most days he just got taken out because he didn't make the cut. That's just the way life works. After that, we would do the big group activity, the circle time activity. In the morning, it was either a mathematic activity that I had chosen or the discussion question activity. It usually for the morning was the discussion because it was easier to do because they were ready to go to free play. They were ready to go to centers. And so I didn't think that in the morning was a good time to try to do a math activity, but sometimes we did and it worked. One of the days we did the ball count where they got to bring in a ball and then they would bounce it and we would count how many times did your ball bounce. That was good in the morning because it really grabbed their attention. They liked it, but it just depends. It was whatever we saw fit, whatever I saw fit to work is what activity we would choose to do. So that was morning circle time. Afternoon circle time, same thing. It was usually before we went either outside to go outdoors or went to gross motor room, and we would do small circle times in between. They did a lot of them, and I tried to get rid of a lot of those because it was too many transitions. So when I first got in the classroom, they would do circle time before everything, and I was like, that's so many transitions. that's a transition to get from center tags or center time to the carpet, then the carpet to gross motor, or center time to there. It was just way too much. And so we cut it out and we did two main ones. The afternoon, it was usually a math activity or something more like hands-on, that we were like on the floor. One of the days we did rows of 5. It was like a spatial relationships thing. And so I had all different kinds of objects, and they would get to like, how can you put these in a row of 5? And so they would count each of the objects and put them in rows, and we would talk about, if the row goes this way, is it the same thing if the row goes that way? Is there still 5? And so most days we did that kind of stuff in the afternoon, except for Friday, my discussion question, I had them come out, like we talked about, what do we know about balls? And so we were able to talk about all the different sports balls that we had learned about and made the week before. We talked about it on Friday, and then we let them come up with a marker, and they got to draw their own ball. And so some of them, it was, some of them had these nice little circles in it, others had like shapes. It was just cool to see how each one of them, like, they're all in different spaces, and it was just neat to see that. When I think back and reflect on circle time, I don't think I'm loud enough. We have 4 children who need one-on-one attention that we can't provide, and I think I spend too much time trying to have them sit down. Like, okay, can you come listen? Can you come sit with your friends? I got better at it towards the end of the week, because if they're not hurting themselves, like, I'm just going to kind of let them, they're not going to sit down. Like, I'm just going to let them do it. We had other teachers in the room, and some days I would be the one that was taking those 4 boys and kind of taking them to the side and doing an activity with them that catches their interest, and so they were able to be involved too. One of the biggest things I noticed that I did wrong, and my supervisor, she was in there when I did this, and she actually noted it on her evaluation. I find myself, I'm quick with my language. So if a child does something, I would say, good job. I wouldn't explain why, what did you do a good job doing. She noted that, and she was like, hey, like, let's work on that. And I noticed that too. I think I was just getting so busy and had so much on my mind that I was just being quick with the language that I was using, which isn't good, because I need to explain to the children, like, oh, good job putting those 5 balls in a row. I like how you counted them, and kind of just added on to what I was talking about. I think I was confident, but also 3-year-olds are just out of my comfort zone. They just are. I've gotten better at it, but I don't know. It's just like that's a hard age for me. It's just hard for me. So I think I was confident, but you could definitely tell I'm nervous. Like, with like 5-year-olds or 5 and up, really, I'm like more in there. I'm talking to them way more. I feel like I'm just way more involved, whereas 3-year-olds, I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like, you're still really little, but they're not. I don't know. I don't think I'm as confident as I could be, but I can definitely see such an improvement. At first, when they put me in that room, I was like, no, but I'm glad I was in that room, because I think I grew a lot from that. So far, I've got to do all the circle times in the morning. It's been a really good experience. I think it's a big learning curve, learning to, like, what kids like and what works and what doesn't work. I think I found that out pretty quick. There were some things where I would go to do the activity or the discussion, and we just had to say, okay, that's over. Like, let's move on to center time. Because, like I said, they're 3 years old. Circle time should not last more. 15 minutes is like maximum. Really, like, you should aim for 10. They're 3. I think that's something I could work on better, is making sure, and I think that would come with when you're in a classroom and you know the kids and you know what they like, making sure you plan activities that really like engage them for that full like length of time that you have their attention. My favorite thing to do is the morning movements, and by the end of the week, well, really, we've been doing this since I started Circle Time because I do the movements every morning to get their brain thinking. They know like my sequence, like, okay, let's reach up for the sky, grab the sun, bring the sun to you. So they all, if I say, okay, let's do our movement, they all start stretching like they know what I'm going to do next. So maybe I should switch up my morning movements. Overall, it was a really good experience, and I think that throughout this practicum experience, I've grown so much. Like the first time I did Circle Time, it was a complete mess. No one listened. I wasn't confident. It was a wreck. And now it just goes so much smoother. I've created a routine. We've created this space where it's the children know what to expect, I know what to expect, and it's helped so much. I've learned through this practicum that routine is everything. I'm really grateful for this experience, and just for Circle Time, I'm excited to do it next week too, and just try new activities. We're going to move on to a new unit of study, and so I can't wait to like be more involved in that, and it's going to be something new that's going to catch the kids' interest. So I'm just really excited, and it's been a really good experience so far, and I can't wait to see what else this has in store for